Welcome back, Curious. Just when we thought that this chaotic 2020 could not surprise us anymore, it turns out that this little jewel was still ready for us. And the fact is that not content with the pandemic and all the global chaos it has caused, the controversial decisions of a lot of political leaders around the planet, and even top religious authorities making controversial statements that turn centuries of history upside down, now once again on the top of the idols of the Americans and international pop culture is giving us something to talk about, and a little more than 11 years after he stopped breathing. That's right, I'm talking about the one and only Michael Jackson. But why is his name on everyone's lips again, and not in the best possible way? What new scandals are involved in Finding Neverland, the new documentary that the director Dan Reed is working on, which seems to be the sequel to the HBO's almost controversial Leaving Neverland? Well, stay with me to find out, but before we continue, don't forget to hit the bell and the subscription button so you don't miss any of our future videos. That's right, Curious, we were just thinking that they were finally going to let the memory of the one who in the life was called the King of Pop rest, and that they were going to let the public decide if they still considered him a legend or if he was a monster that others assured that was hidden behind that harmless and kind appearance. But nope, it turns out that we are very wrong because we have just learned that a new and controversial documentary is already being cooked up. One that would be kind of a sequel to Leaving Neverland, the HBO production that caused such a stir that there were even countries that completely prohibited the reproduction of any creation that Michael Jackson had made during his 5 decades of life. But before we talk about the new documentary Finding Neverland, let's remember why the HBO one caused such a stir. This 4-hour documentary was presented during the 2019 Sundance Film Festival. The production showed the story of Wade Robson and James Safechuck, two men who claimed that Michael abused them in the mid-90s, not only in various locations at Neverland Ranch that belonged to the singer, but also in other places such as hotel rooms during a tour. And since we mentioned this infamous site, Neverland is a place that Michael Jackson created being inspired by the fictional land of the same name that is mentioned in Peter Pan's book. It is because of all of us who grew up in wonderful decades of the 90s that it was quite common for Michael to invite his little friends, all of them children, to enjoy the attractions that the singer offered at the ranch. For a long time, it was believed that this was just the way the singer tried to make up for all the childhood years lost between tours and work. However, for many others, there was nothing innocent about that behavior, and that it was precisely what the controversial documentary addresses. The production is divided into 2 parts. The first deals with the accusations of Wade Robson and James Safechuck. Both relate the alleged abuse that they were subject to by Michael Jackson as children. Among the horrific statements, Wade mentions that Jackson even showed him explicit adult material. In addition, he made him come in contact with high-percentage beverages. Safechuck, on the other hand, assures that it was his first intimate encounter, and it was precisely with Michael when he was only 14 years old. According to his version, the abuse happened in a hotel, and obviously I won't go into too many lurid details because the truth is that, true or not, the story James told during the documentary could make anyone's stomach turn. The second part of the production recounts the 2005 trial and assessment after Jackson was charged in December of 2003 with 7 counts of child abuse and 2 counts of supplying high-percentage beverages to achieve this goal. So the production also talks about when Jackson denied the accusations and how less than 2 years later, after the controversial trial, the artist was acquitted, and it precisely is in this part of the controversy that was the most ferociously presented, and it turns out that one of the witnesses whose statements were key to Michael's acquittal was Wade Robson, who under oath testified that Jackson had never abused him, and not only that, but even defended the singer during a famous interview with Access Hollywood. Obviously, these inconsistencies in Wade's behavior were one of the resources most used by MJ's defenders and fans to ensure them that this man was a liar and a gold digger. Since we are talking about controversial revelations and changes of mind, despite having come to the defense of someone who at some point they considered to be more than just a friend years ago, after the singer's passing between 2013 and 2014, respectively, Wade and James filed a lawsuit against the King of Pop for abuse, arguing that the stress and trauma that they had suffered had led them to reveal the whole truth about the darker side of the idol. However, both accusations were denied on technical grounds. But despite the fact that many claim that the only thing that these two gentlemen were looking for was to become millionaires at the expenses of the discredit of a star who could no longer even defend himself, especially the most fanatical fans of all. During the press conference following the documentary's premiere, both declared that they had not received a single penny for having appeared in the production, that all they wanted was to tell their story and raise awareness about the horrible problem of child abuse in the world. But while on the one hand, Michael's fans wanted to see the documentary and its creators, well, I'm sure I can't say exactly what they wanted to do here, but there were many others who, after seeing the material shown in the film, stopped considering the singer an idol. There were even many radio stations around the world that announced that they would stop broadcasting any Michael Jackson content forever as a show of solidarity, not only with Wade and James, but with all the children who unfortunately suffer abuse every day. For this part, Variety magazine writer Owen Gleiberman wrote, "Director Dan Reed shows us a truth that may be unacceptable to many. The greatest musical genius since the Beatles was amazingly talented, but he was really a monster." But the truth is not only some former fans, journalists and radio station owners turned their back on Michael, but also some artists who, like Wade himself, had previously defended the singer. Of course, the most notorious case is Oprah Winfrey, who sided with Michael in 1993. On that occasion, during an interview with the singer, she said only good and exceptional things about Michael and the way that he lived his life at Neverland Ranch. Months after that interview, the singer was accused for the first time, but the video with the presenter was one of the biggest supports of the artist. However, after the premiere of the controversial HBO production, Oprah interviewed Wade and James, and she also talked about her own experience as a victim of child abuse and fully endorsed her interviewee's version. One detail that attracted a lot of attention on that occasion was that during the program, some expert psychologists explained that it was completely normal and understandable that at first Michael's victims did not tell the truth. Although, well, it is worth mentioning that there were many who said that they did not buy Oprah's story at all and reiterated their unconditional support for Michael. And that support could certainly not only come from the singer's fans, but also from the people who said they knew him best, for example, his family and friends. Among those who openly defended the singer was Stevie Wonder, who made several collaborations with Michael and whom he considered a true friend. Another famous person who backed Jackson was rapper Kanye West, who said after the premiere of the documentary, "People are going to accuse him with some documentaries, but we can all enjoy his music whenever we want. I didn't think he was going to say that today. If we're going to reject artists, we're going to eliminate all art. We're going to end up taking Da Vinci out of the Louvre." But as they say, there is no bad publicity, especially when it comes to something that generated so much controversy. And it seems that Dan Reed is more than in agreement with this premise. This gentleman is a recognized British director who has already been behind other documentaries that point to child abuse. One of them is The Pedophile Hunter, released in 2014, and of course the already mentioned Leaving Neverland. And now with this new production called Finding Neverland, which is kind of a sequel to his last documentary, he intends to focus precisely on all legal battles that his creation unleashed. According to information from Deadline, Dan has been working on his new project in LA for some time now. Although it is not known exactly what will be shown in this new production, it is said that it may be about the respective lawsuits that both Wade Robson and James Safechuck are involved in against the MJJ Productions and the MJJ Ventures. And since we mentioned these corporations belonging to Michael's heirs, it seems that they have been a real thorn in the director's side. According to the same Deadline report, both companies required Reed to personally come forward to declare and deliver all those documents and sensitive material that were used for the creation of Leaving Neverland and now its sequel. According to that version, the team of lawyers presented in a document in which they try and discredit the director's work since they assure that he is not even a journalist in the strict sense of the word. For his part, Reed has already requested that the citations he has to declare and deliver the material be rescinded on the grounds that he's a British citizen domiciled in the United Kingdom and that his company has no ties or legal headquarters in the state of California. And the truth is that the director is not alone in his cause. As it turns out, Louisa Compton, head of news and current affairs at Channel 4, the network through which his new documentary is expected to be broadcast, came to Reed's defense saying, "At Channel 4, we have a strong record of defending freedom of expression. We routinely oppose those who seek orders for journalists to turn in unbroadcasted and other journalistic material. They're grateful for the strong legal protections that exist to safeguard journalists in the UK and in the United States." But despite that support, the legal battles continue. Regarding Reed's request to cancel and rescind the subpoenas by Michael's lawyers, a hearing will be held to decide on April 9th. Wade Robson, one of the two people responsible for the controversial and powerful accusations against the singer, is scheduled to begin his trial on June 14th of next year. So curious, what do you think of Dan Reed's decision to create a sequel to the already controversial Leaving Neverland? Will you be watching Finding Neverland when it's finally finished and released? If it will ever be? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, don't forget to like and share and subscribe to our channel. See you guys next time.